What is going on, mortals? Mortal T here, and today, as you can see, we're back on Ark Survival Evolved because I am going to be showing you something that people have asked me a few times in the comments of other videos, because I've been doing a lot of building videos recently, and some of them have to do with like techniques that I've learned, and people want to know how I do it. So I've already showed off how you make the floating platforms. Well, floating structures, not necessarily the actual platform. But I also did a few videos where you can tilt your structures, and that is what I'm going to be covering today. How to tilt your structures. Either you can actually completely put the structure on its side, or you can slightly tilt it a tiny bit. And what I mean by that, if you look over here right in front of me, I've already done this video. This video should be up over on my channel. This is what I've called the Leaning Tower of Pisa. If you don't know what it is like a famous building that is in the world today, and it does actually lean. But in Ark, for some reason, you can't actually make something that leans like this. So that is a technique I'm going to be showing you. I've also done a greenhouse that was on its side. It looked really cool. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be showing you now. I am not taking credit for this because this has been out for quite a while. I did not discover this at all. I've learned it off a few people, so please don't say in the comments that I'm taking credit for discovering this, because I am really not. I am nowhere near the first person to discover this. It's just that people have asked me how to do it, and I'm going to cover it for you mortals. So, the first thing you are going to need is a hover skiff. This is the essential equipment that you will need. Hover skiff, you're going to need foundations, pillars, fence foundations, triangle foundations, ceilings, and some ladders. And obviously element to put in the hover skiff, because you are going to have to move it. So, first thing you're going to need to do, you need to put a foundation on this hover skiff. Now, sometimes the hover skiff can be really buggy, and sometimes it will not let you place a structure on here. It will automatically just glitch through and go down to the ground. To fix that issue, all you need to do is activate it, drive it, and then just make it land again, and it should allow you to place a structure on it like a normal foundation. So what we're going to do, it doesn't have to be like particularly that good. You can place it in roughly any area, close, whatever. It doesn't just. I place it there. No big deal about it. After you've done that, what we want to do, we want to snap a pillar to the foundation. So like so. Now, sometimes the technique I'm about to show you works, and sometimes it doesn't. So it can be very, very like tricky. So once you've done that, you want your fence foundation. Now if you go over to the pillar, and you'll notice this fence foundation just goes straight through. It doesn't actually do anything. But if we look on the sides, if we just circle around on the sides, as you can see, now this snaps directly to the pillar, the way the pillar is facing. So it goes directly up and down and not straight through the pillar. So on this side it'll work, and on this side it will work. Sometimes this is not the case. Sometimes when you place a pillar and you try and do this, for some reason this side, the way that is facing the foundation, the fence foundation will just go straight through the pillar like you see on this side. But you need it to be like this, so it angles to the way the pillar is facing. So once you have got that sorted, what we're going to do, we're going to place a ladder on this foundation. We're going to climb on the ladder, get our fence foundation up, and we're just going to look at the pillar right here. So as you can see, it is red, but don't worry about that. You can still snap it to it, even though it says it can't. So you're going to end up with something roughly like that. You want to try and stick a little bit out of the edge up there, as you can see, with the fence foundation. Then what we're going to do, we're going to snap another pillar on top of that other pillar. Then we can get rid of this fence foundation and the ladder. So it's looking pretty cool so far. Then we need to snap another pillar to that fence foundation. So as you can see, it's going kind of crazy here, but if you just keep at it, eventually you will find that snap point that you need onto that foundation. So that is what it is going to look like. Now, to get a completely like horizontal structure, the hover skiff needs to be perfectly level on the floor. It cannot be tilted to the side. As you can see, it is now. It is tilted to the side. So if I did this trick to try and tilt my structures, it would slope a tiny bit. So you're going to need something completely level. To do this, if you want something completely level, it's very, very easy. You just want to whack a few foundations next to each other. So you have like some kind of platform, so the hover skiff can hover over. So now we are going to activate the hover skiff again. We're going to put it in the air. And if you come over here, once it's hovering, we're not going to land it, we're just hovering. But it's hovering over a completely flat surface, so it shouldn't bend either way, which is what we really, really need. So what we're going to do, we're going to attach one more pillar to this guy right here. And then we're going to get our triangle foundation, and we're going to come right here. So as you can see, this triangle foundation is now tilting completely sideways, and the point of it is actually in the ground. We want to snap it right there. So it looks really weird, but that is how we're going to get our foundation support for a totally tilted structure. Next, we just want some walls. This can be done in any material, so you don't have to worry about what material you can do it in. As long as you get a foundation into the ground, you can actually just replace it with whatever type of material you actually want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to build some walls up here. Try and get it roughly in level with the pillar that's right here, because we want to try and get a ceiling to flicker between both of these snap points, between the wall snap point and this pillar snap point. So just to make sure this works properly, make sure you place another pillar so a ceiling can go in between there, so it can actually go there. Next, to try and get this flickering, it can be kind of difficult, but if you have any difficulties, what you want to do is just mess around with the hover skiff, try and get it like leveled up a bit more. As you can see, sometimes it did flicker there and I haven't moved an inch. Sometimes it will flicker and sometimes it doesn't. So see, it's gone on its thing. Anything interacts with the hover skiff, it can knock it off balance, off center, and it gets really weird. So once we have that flickering point, if I can, there we are. We had it for a second there. Come on. Like I said, if you don't get this, you can just mess around with the hover skiff to get a better flicker between these two snap points, because that is what you need. See, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. You do have to keep doing this. It's like, it is trial and error. You can do it this way, and boom, as you can see, it is, this ceiling is no longer connected to anything that is here. It's not connected to the hover skiff at the moment. Do not destroy the hover skiff when I say this. It's not connected to the hover skiff, and it's not connected to this wall or that foundation. So you can move the hover skiff away if you want to. Just like so, I'm going to show you. You can move it away, and that ceiling will be floating there. If you want, you can actually get rid of these foundations and the ceiling will still be hovering right there. But we need to anchor this ceiling into the ground to get our foundation placement. But if you notice, if you can, sometimes these pillars can be really awkward to snap into these ceilings. You have to like look away from it and not directly at the ceiling, otherwise it will not work. So once you have placed the first pillar, we can then place another ceiling if the hover skiff is close enough. This is where the hover skiff comes in clutch. If the hover skiff is too far away and it will not let you place another ceiling, bring the hover skiff back over to roughly there. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be in the range, so it classes as a foundation support, as you can see right there. And then we can snap another ceiling like so, and then we want to snap another pillar to that bottom ceiling. So yet again, it's going to be tricky to place. You can't look directly at it, and boom, there we go. Now this is officially where we can get on the hover skiff and just move it completely away. We no longer need it, but do not destroy it. So now all I want to do is get rid of the rest of these foundations, because we want to place our tilted foundation in here, and we don't want nothing messing with the snap points. Like so. And now we are going to get our triangle foundation, and we can just snap it to the pillar, and boom, there you have your beginnings of your tilted structure. So you can actually get rid of all these now, it doesn't matter, because you have this foundation that is in the ground, and you can work off of this just like so. Boom, boom, boom. Now essentially what happens here is walls become ceilings and ceilings become walls. It is very difficult to try and get your head around, but as you can see, these are now ceilings or floors. But unfortunately, if you try and walk on the walls as a ceiling, you will just slip off it. You'll just slide off it. It's like you're jumping onto a fence foundation. It slides you off. Let's try and show you. So I'm going to slowly walk forward, and then as you can see, you get that animation and you just slide off. So I do not recommend trying to use the walls as any type of ceiling that you're trying to walk on. So let's just get rid of that. Now don't get it wrong, you can use normal foundations as well, as long as you've snapped it in. Boom, as you can see, that this normal foundation has now snapped to any of these like so. Won't snap any further, but then you can just work off it. So we've got some ceilings here. These now act as walls. So as you can see, these are just gonna go way up. There is no, well, there is a limit obviously, but as you can see, boom, they now act as walls, and the walls now act as ceilings. Because if I get my walls back out, I'll show you that there is a limit to these as well. So as you can see, there is the limit for the walls, and the limit is pretty big for the ceilings. But that is how you make your tilted structure. This is the beginnings of it. You will have to figure out other parts to try and extend the foundation support from these. It's actually very easy. I'm going to show you real quick. If we just place a ceiling, and then we snap a pillar to this ceiling, and then we just want to extend these pillars like so, and then we can snap other foundations, these triangle foundations, to the pillars. Now it will give you an option to go every single foundation. You can do that, but sometimes it does mess up the foundation support, so keep that in mind. So as you can see, I can now extend these a bit more because I place these foundations further out. But more, that is how you can make a tilted structure in Ark Survival Evolved. I wouldn't try doing this in an official server, because if there is a dev around, they might just ban you, because apparently this is exploiting the mechanics of Ark, even though it is a mechanic in Ark. It's kind of weird. But more, I hope you enjoyed, I hope you found this helpful, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video.